Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when someone you trusted, someone you gave your heart, your time, and your energy to hurts you in a way you never expected. It could be betrayal, disrespect, or abandonment. And in that moment, you have two choices: break down and let the pain consume you, or rise up and leave them absolutely confused. Most people expect you to cry, to beg, to seek closure. But today I'm here to tell you something different. Do not give them that satisfaction. Instead, confuse them. Imagine this: he walks back into your life expecting to see you shattered, struggling, stuck in the past. But instead, he finds you glowing, thriving, completely unbothered, that moment right there. That is your victory. That is how you win. Pain does not define you, how you rise from it does. So today, let's talk about how you can turn heartbreak into power, silence into success, and confusion into your greatest comeback. Let's begin. Pain is an incredible teacher. It arrives uninvited, unexpected, and often from the people we least expect. But what if I told you that pain is not meant to break you? What if I told you that pain is actually the most powerful force in your life, the force that can shape you, refine you, and push you toward the person you were always meant to be? When someone hurts you, especially someone you trusted, it feels like the world is collapsing. The betrayal, the lies, the disappointment, it all becomes too much to bear. Your mind is flooded with questions. Why did this happen? What did I do to deserve this? Why wasn't I enough? But the real question you should be asking is, what can I do with this pain? Because pain, when channeled correctly, is not your enemy. It is your fuel. Most people let pain define them. They sink into it, allowing it to dictate their self-worth, their future, and their happiness. They replay the hurt over and over in their minds, drowning in the what-ifs and the whys. But the strongest people, the ones who rise above, don't just survive pain, they transform it. They take the fire that was meant to destroy them and use it to ignite their own strength. Think about it: some of the most powerful individuals in history, the most successful people in the world, have all faced unbearable pain. But instead of allowing it to crush them, they used it to push themselves beyond their limits. They took every rejection, every betrayal, every moment of heartbreak, and turned it into motivation. They refused to let their pain become a prison. Instead, they made it their power. Pain forces you to confront your weaknesses. It shows you where you were too trusting, too forgiving, or too dependent on someone else's love and validation. It highlights the areas in your life where you gave too much without receiving enough in return. And in that realization, you find something invaluable. You find clarity. You see things as they really are, not as you wish them to be. And once you see clearly, you can never go back to being the same person again. That transformation is where your power lies. Because once you recognize your own worth, once you understand that your happiness, your success, and your growth are in your hands, you become unstoppable. No longer will you wait for an apology to heal. No longer will you beg for closure. No longer will you allow someone else's actions to define your future. You will take control. You will rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. The most painful experiences in life often lead to the most profound transformations. It's in the moments of deepest despair that we are given a choice, either to remain broken or to rebuild ourselves into something even greater than before. And that choice, no matter how difficult, is entirely yours to make. There will be days when the pain feels overwhelming, when you feel like you can't move forward, when the weight of the hurt makes it difficult to breathe. But those are the moments when you must push through the hardest. Because beyond that pain, beyond that darkness, there is something beautiful waiting for you, a version of yourself that is unshakable, fearless, and limitless. People who hurt you expect you to fall. They expect you to doubt yourself, to question your worth, to spend your days seeking explanations that will never come. But the greatest response to that pain is not revenge, not anger, not even confrontation. It is evolution. It is growth. It is standing tall, moving forward, and proving to yourself that you are so much more than what someone else tried to reduce you to. There is a fire within you, a strength that pain cannot destroy. It may take time, it may take effort, but eventually you will look back and realize that the very thing that was meant to break you was what built you instead. Silence is the most powerful response you can ever give to someone who hurt you. When people wrong you, they expect a reaction. They expect you to lash out, cry, beg for explanations, and fall apart. They expect to see you drowning in the pain they caused. But when you choose silence instead, when you choose to walk away with your head held high, you take away all their power. You leave them confused, unsettled, and wondering why you are not reacting the way they thought you would. The thing about pain is that it demands to be felt, but it does not have to be expressed in ways that make you weaker. Most people believe that expressing their pain through confrontation or revenge will give them relief, but in reality, it only keeps them tied to the very person who hurt them. The more you engage, the more you let them know they still have control over your emotions. And that is exactly what you need to take back. The moment you stop giving them the reaction they crave, you reclaim your strength. People who hurt others thrive on attention. They want to see how much of an impact they have on your life. They want to feel powerful, knowing that their words or actions have left a mark on you. But when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, when you choose silence, you force them to face something they are not prepared for their own actions. Instead of focusing on your reaction, they are left alone with their own conscience, their own guilt, and their own regrets. The truth is, silence speaks louder than any words ever could. When you walk away without a single explanation, you create a mystery they cannot solve. They start to wonder what you are thinking, what you are planning, and why you are not reacting the way they expected. And that confusion, that uncertainty, is far more powerful than any argument, any confrontation, or any outburst of emotion. But silence is not just about confusing them, it is about healing yourself. It is about redirecting your energy towards something far more valuable, your own growth, your own happiness, and your own peace. Every time you engage in a pointless argument, every time you try to prove your worth to someone who did not value you, you are wasting precious energy that could be used to build yourself up. The best revenge is not proving them wrong with words, it is proving them wrong with your success. It is showing them, without a single word, that their actions did not break you, that their betrayal did not define you, and that their absence did not destroy you. Choosing silence does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are running away or avoiding confrontation. It means you understand the power of restraint. It means you know that not everything deserves a response, not everyone deserves an explanation, and not every battle is worth fighting. Some battles are won simply by refusing to participate. When you remain silent, you give yourself the space to heal. You take back your power, not by seeking validation, not by demanding answers, but by choosing yourself over the situation. You focus on what truly matters, your future, your goals, your happiness. The moment you stop wasting energy on people who do not deserve it, you create space for better things, for better people, for better experiences. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who walks away with grace. A woman who does not lower herself to the level of those who hurt her. A woman who understands that her peace is worth more than any explanation, any argument, any moment of temporary satisfaction. The moment you choose silence, you choose freedom. Freedom from pain, freedom from toxic cycles, and freedom from anything that does not serve your growth. People often say that closure is necessary, that you need to have a final conversation, a final confrontation, a final moment of clarity. But the truth is, closure is not something you get from another person. It is something you give to yourself. It is the decision to stop waiting for an apology that may never come. It is the decision to stop replaying the pain and start focusing on the future. It is the decision to walk away and never look back, not because you do not care, but because you care about yourself more. When someone hurts you, they expect you to crumble. They expect you to spend nights crying, to drown in self-doubt, to seek their validation, even after they have broken you. But when you choose silence, you send a message they will never forget. You were never dependent on them, you were never weak, and you were never going to let their actions define your worth. Choosing silence is not about winning or losing. It is about knowing your value. It is about understanding that not every situation needs your energy, not every person deserves your time, and not every heartbreak needs a response. It is about looking forward, moving forward, and refusing to be trapped in a cycle of pain that was never meant for you. The most powerful thing you can ever do when someone hurts you is to rise above it, not with anger, not with revenge, but with transformation. People who cause pain expect you to break. They expect you to stay down, to question your worth, to let their actions define you. But the most unexpected response, the one that leaves them speechless, is when you turn that pain into progress, when you evolve into a version of yourself that is untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable. The moment you decide to stop seeking validation from the person who hurt you, you step into your true power. You stop asking why they did it. You stop wondering what you could have done differently. You stop waiting for the apology that may never come. Instead, you shift your focus inward. You start asking, what can I do to become stronger? How can I use this pain to elevate myself? How can I ensure that this situation is a stepping stone, not a setback? The answers to those questions will lead you to a transformation so profound that the person who once hurt you will not even recognize you anymore. Pain is a signal. It is telling you something about yourself, about your choices, about the things you tolerated for too long. It is showing you the areas in your life where you need to set stronger boundaries, where you need to love yourself more, where you need to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Instead of drowning in pain, listen to it. Let it guide you. Let it reveal what needs to change. Because the truth is, the best response to being hurt is not to chase after the person who caused it, but to chase after the life you deserve. Growth is the most confusing thing you can offer to someone who underestimated you. The person who hurt you expects you to remain the same. They expect you to carry the wounds, to stay stuck in the past, to continue being affected by what they did. But when you choose growth, when you choose to evolve beyond the pain, you become unpredictable. You become someone they can no longer control, someone they can no longer manipulate, someone who no longer fits into the version of you they once knew. And that is where your power lies. Think about it. Every great story of success, every person who has ever achieved something incredible has gone through immense pain. They did not let it destroy them. They did not let it hold them back. Instead, they used it as fuel. They let every disappointment, every betrayal, every rejection push them forward. They refused to be victims of their circumstances. They decided that their future was far more important than their past. And you have that same power within you. The world does not reward those who stay stuck in pain. It rewards those who take their pain and turn it into purpose. It rewards those who refuse to be defined by what happened to them and instead define themselves by how they rise from it. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. Your transformation will speak for itself. The person who hurt you will see it. The people who doubted you will see it. And most importantly, you will see it. When you start focusing on your growth, on becoming the best version of yourself, everything begins to change. You start walking differently, talking differently, thinking differently. You stop wasting time on things that do not add value to your life. You stop giving your energy to people who do not deserve it. You start making choices that align with the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. And in that transformation, you find your true strength. There is nothing more powerful than a person who has been hurt but chooses to heal. A person who does not let bitterness consume them. A person who does not let pain turn them into someone they are not. A person who takes every hardship and turns it into wisdom, into resilience, into motivation. That kind of person is unstoppable. That kind of person is fearless. That kind of person cannot be broken. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to be defined by someone else's actions. You were meant to rise, to evolve, to become something greater than what tried to destroy you. The moment you realize that, the moment you step into that truth, is the moment you take back your power. Because the best revenge, the best response, the best way to confuse someone who hurt you is to become someone they never expected, a person so strong, so confident, so full of purpose that they no longer have a place in your world. The most powerful thing you can do when someone tries to break you is to rise above, not with anger, not with vengeance, but with self-transformation. When a man hurts you, he expects you to crumble. He expects you to doubt yourself, to lose confidence, to question your worth. But what if, instead of falling apart, you did something unexpected? What if you confused him, not with words, not with confrontation, but with a change so profound that he no longer recognizes the person he thought he could hurt? Pain has a way of revealing who we truly are. It strips away illusions. It forces us to see our own strength. And it makes us choose, do we stay stuck in suffering, or do we rise beyond it? The moment you decide that no one else has the power to define you, you take back control. You stop waiting for closure. You stop waiting for an explanation. You stop waiting for an apology that may never come. Instead, you focus on one thing, your growth, because the greatest response to pain is evolution. When someone hurts you, they expect you to react. They expect tears, anger, pleading. They expect to see you in pain, because that's how they maintain their sense of power. But imagine this: you don't react, you don't chase, you don't beg. Instead, you turn inward. You take all that energy and invest it in yourself. You start focusing on your dreams, on your health, on your happiness. You start glowing not because of them, but despite them. And that is where the real confusion begins. A man who hurt you will expect you to hold on to the pain. He will expect you to keep replaying the past in your mind, to stay in a cycle of heartbreak and self-doubt. But when you refuse to stay in that cycle, when you break free and rebuild yourself, you become something he never expected: untouchable. Not in the sense that you never feel pain, but in the sense that pain no longer controls you. You no longer allow his actions to dictate your worth. You no longer seek validation from someone who could not appreciate you. You become independent in ways he never imagined. Healing is the most powerful act of defiance. It is the one thing that no one can take away from you. When you heal, you take back every part of yourself that you once gave away so freely. You reclaim your time, your energy, your love, your joy. You stop giving away pieces of yourself to people who do not deserve them. You become whole again, not because someone else completed you, but because you completed yourself. And when a man sees that, when he realizes that he no longer holds any power over you, he will be left confused. Confidence is not something you ask for, it is something you create. It is built in the moments when you choose yourself over someone who failed to see your worth. It is built when you decide that your future is more important than your past. It is built when you start walking into every room knowing that you are enough, that you have always been enough, and that no rejection, no betrayal, no heartbreak can take that away from you. Think about it, every great transformation is born from struggle. The stronger people, the ones who inspire us, who lead, who change the world, have all known pain. But they did not let it define them. They let it refine them. They used it to sharpen their vision, to fuel their dreams, to push them to become something greater. That same power exists in you. The only question is, will you use it? You do not need revenge. You do not need to prove anything. The greatest way to respond to someone who underestimated you is to show them that their actions had no power over your future, that you did not break, that you did not shrink, that you did not lose yourself trying to hold on to something that was never meant for you. Instead, you rose, you built, you thrived. And in doing so, you became the version of yourself that no one could ever diminish again. Growth is silent. It does not announce itself. It does not beg for recognition. It simply happens. And one day, the person who hurt you will see it not because you showed them, not because you tried to make them notice, but because your transformation is undeniable. They will see you thriving, succeeding, living a life that is full, and they will realize that they no longer have a place in it. That is the moment they will be confused, because they expected you to remain broken, but instead you became unstoppable. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who refuses to be broken. When a man hurts you, he expects you to react in the way he has seen so many others react, with tears, with desperation, with self-doubt. He expects you to shrink, to lose yourself, to become a shadow of the person you once were. But what if instead of reacting in the way he anticipates, you respond in a way he never saw coming? What if instead of falling apart, you rise? What if instead of questioning your worth, you recognize it more than ever before? The truth is, pain changes people. It forces you to confront yourself in ways you never had to before. It strips away the illusions, the excuses, the comfortable lies we tell ourselves. But more importantly, it presents a choice. You can let the pain consume you, allowing it to dictate how you see yourself and how you live your life. Or you can use it as fuel. You can use it as the fire that ignites something new within you, something stronger, something unbreakable. Because the woman who walks through pain and emerges on the other side is a woman who can never again be controlled by anyone else's opinion of her. A man who hurts you expects to see his absence take a toll on you. He expects to see regret in your eyes, to hear pain in your voice, to feel the weight of his actions affecting your every move. But imagine his confusion when he sees the opposite. Imagine his confusion when he sees you not just surviving but thriving. When he sees you smiling, glowing, radiating a confidence that is no longer tied to his presence or his validation. Because the greatest transformation happens when you stop waiting for someone else to make you whole and realize that you were never incomplete in the first place. The power in your response lies in your ability to shift the focus from him to yourself. When someone wrongs you, it is easy to fixate on their actions, to replay conversations, to wonder why they did what they did. But the real power is in letting go. It is in redirecting that energy toward yourself, toward your own growth, toward building the life that you deserve. Because the more you pour into yourself, the less space there is for anyone who does not value you. And that is when the real confusion begins. There is a strength in silence that many underestimate. When someone hurts you, they expect a reaction. They expect anger, they expect confrontation, they expect you to demand answers. But what they do not expect is your silence. They do not expect you to walk away without explanation, without looking back, without needing them to acknowledge the pain they caused. And that silence speaks louder than any words ever could. It tells them that they no longer hold any power over you, that they no longer have access to your emotions, to your time, to your energy. It forces them to sit with their own actions, to wonder, to question, to feel the absence of what they took for granted. A woman who rises after heartbreak is a woman who becomes unstoppable. Because once you have known deep pain and overcome it, there is very little left in this world that can shake you. You begin to understand that your strength does not come from the approval of another, but from the way you choose to show up for yourself every single day. You stop seeking closure from the one who hurt you and instead find it within yourself. You stop waiting for an apology and instead grant yourself the freedom to move forward without it. Healing is not about proving anything to anyone else. It is not about showing him what he lost. It is not about making him regret his choices. It is about reclaiming your own power, your own happiness, your own life. It is about waking up every day and choosing to live fully, to embrace joy, to surround yourself with people who uplift and respect you. Because the moment you realize that your worth was never tied to how someone else treated you, you become the kind of woman who cannot be diminished by heartbreak. There is nothing more confusing to a man who expected you to fall apart than seeing you rise with even greater strength, greater confidence, and greater purpose. He will not understand how you were able to take the pain he caused and turn it into something beautiful. He will not understand how you found the strength to build yourself up when he tried to tear you down. And that is because he never truly understood who you were in the first place. Because a woman who knows her worth, a woman who has faced pain and overcome it, is a woman who will never again settle for less than she deserves. When a man hurts you, he believes he has taken something away from you, your joy, your confidence, your sense of self. He believes his actions will linger in your heart, creating an emptiness that only he can fill. But what if instead of breaking you rise? What if instead of seeking validation, you become your own source of strength? That is the kind of confusion he never expected. That is the kind of power he never saw coming. People who hurt others often do so because they believe they hold control. They think their absence will create suffering, that their words will echo in your mind long after they have left. But the most powerful thing you can do is show them that your happiness was never dependent on them. The most unexpected response to pain is growth. It is healing. It is transformation. Because when you choose to focus on yourself instead of the one who hurt you, you strip them of the power they thought they had. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who understands her worth. A woman who refuses to be defined by the way someone else treated her. A woman who knows that her value was never determined by another person's ability to see it. When you truly embrace that, you become someone who cannot be manipulated, who cannot be made to feel small, who cannot be controlled by another's absence. And that is when the real confusion begins. The biggest mistake a person makes when they hurt you is assuming that they are the most important part of your story, that without them, you will be lost, broken, searching for closure that only they can provide. But what if, instead of looking back, you move forward with even greater determination? What if instead of chasing after what was lost, you create something even better? That is when the confusion takes over, because the moment they realize they were never the center of your world is the moment they begin to question their own significance. Pain has a way of revealing who we truly are. It strips away the illusions, the distractions, the comfortable lies we tell ourselves. It forces us to confront our fears, our insecurities, our deepest wounds, and in that confrontation we have a choice. We can either allow the pain to define us, to shape our identity around the hurt we have experienced, or we can use it as fuel. We can allow it to push us toward the strongest, most powerful version of ourselves. Because the woman who walks through fire and comes out unscathed is a woman who will never again be burned by the same flames. A man who hurts you expects to see his actions affect you. He expects regret, sadness, longing. He expects to see you waiting, hoping, wondering what you did wrong. But imagine his confusion when he sees you flourishing instead. When he sees you growing, evolving, becoming even more radiant than before. When he sees you finding happiness not in his return, but in your own journey. That is the ultimate response to pain. That is the ultimate victory. Silence is a powerful weapon that few know how to use. When someone wrongs you, they expect a reaction. They expect anger, tears, and outburst. But what they do not expect is your silence. They do not expect you to walk away without explanation, without asking for closure, without needing them to acknowledge what they did. And that silence speaks volumes. It forces them to sit with their own actions, to wonder why you are not reacting the way they thought you would. It makes them question everything they assumed about you. Because when you choose silence, you are saying you no longer have access to my emotions. You no longer have control over my energy. You are no longer relevant to my happiness. The power of detachment is something many people underestimate. When a man hurts you, he assumes that his presence in your life still holds weight, that his actions still define your emotional state. But when you detach, when you remove his ability to influence your emotions, you take back your power. And the moment he realizes that his absence does not shake you is the moment he begins to question his own importance. He begins to wonder if he ever mattered at all. A woman who heals after heartbreak is a woman who is unstoppable. Because once you have learned to pick yourself up, no one can ever knock you down the same way again. You begin to understand that your strength does not come from another person's love or validation, but from the way you show up for yourself. You stop seeking apologies that may never come. You stop waiting for someone else to make things right. Instead, you take control of your own story. And in doing so, you become someone who no longer needs closure from another, because you have found it within yourself. This kind of transformation is not about proving anything to the one who hurt you. It is not about making him regret his choices or making him see what he lost. It is about rediscovering yourself. It is about realizing that you were never lost to begin with. It is about choosing to live fully, to embrace joy, to surround yourself with people who respect and uplift you. Because the moment you understand that your worth was never dependent on another person's love, you become untouchable. There is no greater confusion for someone who expected you to fall apart than seeing you rise with even greater confidence and strength. He will not understand how you turned the pain he caused into something beautiful. He will not understand how you found the courage to build something new when he tried to tear you down. And that is because he never truly saw who you were in the first place. Because a woman who knows her worth, who has faced pain and emerged stronger, is a woman who will never again settle for anything less than she deserves.